Hey there folks, and welcome to this video, and here I want to talk about changes in the WRC, namely with the support categories such as WRC2, because the Rally2 cars, formerly known as R5, were expected to go hybrid by 2023, and that has since been pushed back to 2026. The reasoning being is because with the change to more sustainable fuels, the manufacturers of Rally2 cars feel that there have been sufficient changes for sustainability and environmental reasons that the hybrid doesn't need to be rushed in terms of implementation for the 2023 season, because that would mean you had about 18 months to prepare for it, which I think is totally fair enough. But it also raises another important point, because this sustainable fuel is something that's also going into Rally1. It's something that's being supplied to all categories in the WRC. And it's coming in for next season with the hybrids. I know F1's doing something quite similar, but the WRC's been kind of leading the way in a way. And considering that they're only just rigging in hybrids for the 2022 season, that themselves have had lots of criticism directed at them for how they've been rushed, for how they've been thought out, I think it's pretty cool to see that kind of step going forward. The WRC is all about sustainability. It's, well, it is now at the very least, about trying to make sure you can keep the costs down so you can have much more accessibility for people competing in it. It's why you see the likes of WRC3, I think, is going to be rebranded now to have the Rally 3 cars, and then you can have on a budget 4-wheel drive rallying. And, I mean, I'll say on a budget, you're still looking at the cost of what, where I am, would be a lovely apartment, but at the same time, it is a step forward. It's a step back to where we were back when I started watching WRC, when the JWRC was around, where instead of it being $250,000 for a World Rally car, the JWRC cars, which were Super 1600, so 1600cc like we have today, but they were only front-wheel drive, they cost around, I think they estimated around 80 grand. Because the British Rally Championship tried, I think in the end a little bit unsuccessfully, to make it the premier class of their championship. Because of cost cap reasons. Well, not cost cap, but an artificial kind of one. And I think that's got to be the step forward. Because if you look at the complaints about the WRC, it's getting more and more expensive, and even though it's reflecting road technology more and more, it means that to be able to compete at the very top, you need to be able to put in the budget of a small F1 team. Like Hyundai and Toyota have been doing. If you look at M Sport, for example, they've only built 14 chassis since 2017. And if you compare what they did with the previous generation for the Fiesta, it speaks volumes, because the main thing was that these things were meant to be sellable on. I believe that there were up to something like 63 designated chassis numbers for the Fiesta World Rally car, the first generation. I think some of them were ones which were destroyed, then rebuilt into another number or given another kind of designation. But considering the fact that they've both covered the same period of World Rally racing, it tells you the problem that happens when you've got this extra level of, well, I don't know the best way to put it. I'd say something like manufactured professionalism, because the FIA has to allow the manufacturers to give dispensation over who can drive their cars. It's a formality, but it doesn't necessarily prevent gentlemen drivers from competing, but it's supposed to act as if anybody who they think would be a danger wouldn't be allowed to compete. But there are rules that should be in place that already say that. I know on this channel I've for a long time said what would be good for the WRC is if they slowed the cars down. Not necessarily for safety reasons, because it also would cut back the costs. If you get rid of a lot of the aero, get rid of all the stuff that makes things very expensive, you could still have the survival cell that is paramount to safety. But you can do it on a budget, which means we can have more privateers. And that, for me, is what the WRC is about. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.